So men play an important role, and I think that throughout time, men have always supported women as well.
Now, as we are coming to the end of this conversation, part of finding solutions to this issue here in TNT, I know you mentioned that such products are already value-added tax. It's not applied to these products. But is there a need to make available, in fact, even from your studies conducted, your survey conducted, were there any findings that suggested women believe that there's a need to have at least one or two products that are available freely and easily accessed for girls and women across TNT, even within the school system?
So we found that 99.4% of women believe that at least one menstrual product should be available free in workplaces and school. And the national survey found 99.2%. So it's not much of a difference, found that women believe that, and girls believe that these menstrual products should be made, at least one product, made available free in schools and in workplaces. So women have expressed an interest that all menstrual products, at least one, should be made available. So I believe that the public has spoken, and that women should be at least allowed to participate in their daily lives with dignity, that they should have free menstrual products, and so that we don't have to hide, we don't have to go into bathrooms and wonder where our menstrual products are coming from, that we don't have to basically carry a pouch with us, or we can participate every day with one less worry.
Mm-hmm. Dr. Rambukas, I'm aware of countries such as New Zealand, and bear in mind, I'm comparing Trinidad and Tobago to New Zealand, but I'm aware that they have legislation, they've passed legislation which allows for greater access to such products. Is there a need for TNT? Because we had a Joint Select Committee meeting on this, and for there to be a Joint Select Committee, it has been recognized as a serious problem here in TNT. And part of this is trying to find solutions. Is there a need for such legislation to be passed here in TNT in regards to the accessibility of such products?
So our group is totally for advocating for legislative change, so at least one product. And by one product, everybody thinks that, we mean one sanitary pad, but we mean a pack of pads that would cover your entire menstrual cycle for that particular month. And on average, that is between 5 to 7 days. And actually, it's Scotland that was the first country in the world that made menstrual products free for all women in schools and in workplaces in 2020. And the MP for Scotland, Miss Lennon, actually promoted our NGO on her blog and her Twitter, as well as Kenya is also another country where legislation has taken place, and these products are made available free in schools. New Zealand is doing a trial period where these products are made available for the next 3 years free in all schools, and we believe that a same approach can be adopted here in Trinidad and Tobago, where legislative change can basically be adopted, where menstrual products are made available in primary and secondary schools for all female students, and hopefully eventually in workplaces as well.
Certainly. Dr. Rambukas, thank you very much for your time this morning in having this conversation and bringing a level of education and awareness to our viewing audience. Certainly, as I mentioned, it's a conversation that people find controversial, but I'm pleased that we're able to have an open discussion on such. And thank you for highlighting this major issue, that is period poverty, affecting girls and women here in TNT. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
Do have a good day. That was Dr. Nadir Rambukas, president of the NGO Crown Her TT, joining me on the program this morning. Period poverty exists here in TNT. The statistics, the figures from such surveys conducted by the ministry as well as the NGO Crown Her TT reveal some really extremely mind-blowing statistics, put it that way. It's incredible what is happening here in Trinidad and Tobago. Hopefully, given the fact that there was a need, they saw it as a need to have a joint select committee meeting on this, let's hope that such solutions are found in due course and more so implemented. Ladies and gentlemen, we take a break on AM Prime.
Let the Home Store turn your house into a home you love. We offer household items, lawn and garden, paint center, hardware, plumbing, lighting and electrical, toys and storage solutions. And just for you this Christmas, come check us out for great gift ideas and all your Christmas decorations. 6 convenient locations: 6th Avenue Barataria, The Falls at West Mall, Pennywise Plaza Chaguanas, C3 Center Branch, Christmas Store at C3 San Fernando, and Eastgate Mall, Trin City. Check out our Facebook page for more information and come visit us today. The Home Store. Turn your house into a home you love.
It comes naturally to us. Unstoppable energy. We use it to manifest a future. A future where energy takes new forms and is used in new ways for all of us. The new age of energy is here.
Simon's Musical Supplies Limited. We are the specialist in new and used musical instruments, carrying top brands like Yamaha, Pearl River pianos, vinyl and Sabian cymbals, Remo and Evans drumheads and Fender guitars, just to name a few. Also a wide assortment of music books, pan and accessories. At Simon's, we service what we sell. Trust the leader. Call us now at 625-6412 or visit us at 20 Board Street, Port of Spain.
If these walls could talk, they'd cry uncle. They didn't plan to become offices or yoga studios, but they've stood by us, even when we got a little stir-crazy. For that, they deserve some thanks. They deserve Benjamin Moore.
Take some time for yourself or spend some time with the family at Sandy Point Village Hotel. Enjoy our various studio and suite apartments, self-contained with their own kitchenettes and Wi-Fi. We also have our famous 100-foot swimming pool and our beachfront restaurant, The Steak and Lobster Grill. And our location in Crown Point puts us near the center of activity from the nylon pool to the local nightlife. Call us and make your reservations at 639-8533, 389-2378 or email us at sandypointvillagehotel@gmail.com.
Every word, every line, every paragraph depicts a real moment in someone's life. A father, a sister, a mother, a brother. We at Newsday are dedicated to you, the people, and through independent, unwavering journalism, strive to always bring your stories to life. Because your stories are more than just words. Newsday, independent and credible.
Is it politics? What is it? Is it that nobody cares about sports?
The kind of support that sport used to get in the past is no longer here.
The thing is, taking a knee doesn't mean that that's the only thing you're doing on it.
Right.
Taking a knee along with other stuff.
Samantha, what are you looking forward to when you return home to Trinidad and Tobago after winning the title?
Thank you very much for speaking it into existence.
Is it no pressure on Nicholas Ball?
It makes me more motivated to work hard and to go out there and rep the white and black.
Why are we sending a team to the Winter Olympics?
There are a number of Trinbagonians who are in the diaspora and have grown up in winter sport. It's an opportunity that the Trinidad and Tobago Olympic Committee will not close the door on.
I also believe in the players that we have. Once you can motivate the players, you can get the best out of them.
The issue, the continued rise in the price of flour and its impact on the cost of living in Trinidad and Tobago. How should we go about it? I want to ask you, what has been revealed to you about the state of vulnerability in the country because of this exercise and because of what we're going through? Is the government losing the war on the vaccine front?
The discussion should revolve around the common good for the greatest number of people in Trinidad and Tobago.
How do we inculcate a sense of respect and regard for people who may not be of your own political ilk or persuasion?
The communities are now being used by political opportunists. So
when the tables are turned, it's the same way. Okay, this has been 10 Questions. I'm Andy Johnson, and we'll see you next time.
It's Christmas time, and with your family you'll spend every evening watching a movie on WESN. The classics that fill your heart with merriment and cheer as we celebrate together the most wonderful time of the year.
This is my island in December.
This Christmas, WESN celebrates with you as the content capital brings the big screen classics. Gather your family and tune in to WESN from December 1st to 31st at 8 p.m. nightly for We Christmas Movie Classics.
Santa's coming to town! Santa! Oh my God! Santa here? I know him!
Only on WESN, Content Capital.
Welcome back to the program, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for being with us this morning. All right, so we're just working on getting some of there was an interview actually conducted by between Al Jazeera and the President of the Cooperative Republic of Ghana, Dr. Mohammed Irfan Ali, in regards to the issues of the Ghana-Venezuela border conflict and controversy. That interview took place late last week. Hopefully we can get that to share with you in a moment or two. But in the meantime, we do have some news stories locally to share with you, which some of them are rather tragic, to say the least. The first one comes from New Grant. On Sunday night, at around 10 p.m., a fire engulfed the home of 92-year-old Suraj Day Stogrim and her 64-year-old mentally challenged son, Boise. Now, where this story gets disheartening is that residents of School Street school trace, my apologies, said that at around 10 p.m. they heard Surge Day calling and crying for help. They were able to come outside and see her standing in the front porch of her home, crying, saying that she needed help, and they realized the house was on fire. However, even the residents saw her. Surge Day ran back into the house to try and save her 64-year-old son. She ran into the house, and at that point, the house became engulfed and collapsed. Her charred remains were found at the entry to her home, while the charred remains of her son, 64-year-old Boise, was found in his bedroom. This, ladies and gentlemen, is, of course, it's tragic, it's sad. There are no other words that we can use to describe it. Those are certainly the emotions that we feel from it. But the fact that 92-year-old Surge Day Sogrim just thought of rescuing her son, thought of saving her son. House was on fire, house was inflamed. She was calling out for help. It seems as though neighbors, through no fault of their own, couldn't get to the home in time. She ran back inside. She lost her life, and her son lost his life as well. It's really sad, but a mother's love will never end, no matter what. A mother's love knows no bounds, knows no end. May their souls rest in peace, because even the family facing this, the loss of a mother, the loss of a brother, at this time, our condolences to the family. May Surge Day and her son Boise rest in peace. Really, a mother's love. Another quite intriguing story actually goes into what we can say is noise pollution, or at least disturbance of the peace here in Trinidad and Tobago. And one of the latest reports that we've received is that there will be no festival parties or events at Salmon Estate in St. Clair, at least for the foreseeable future, unless an injunction granted last Friday is lifted. A 3-page ruling by Justice Eleanor Donaldson Honeywell granted an interim injunction barring Ingrid Daniel and Salmon Estate Limited from using or permitting the use of the premises located at 8 Hayes Street, St. Clair, Port of Spain, as a dance hall or venues for public events. Now, the application for the injunction was filed by former chairman of Petrotrin, Wilfred Espinay, and the St. Clair Residents Association. The order also prohibits Daniel and Salmon Estate Limited from blocking or impeding the driveways and gateways of the properties of the applicant and members of the St. Clair Residents Associations with obstructions or nuisances, including inconsiderate and indiscriminate parking and or loitering or crowds, and playing excessively loud music and causing excessive vibrations. She also ordered that music be turned off by 11 p.m. All attendees vacate by midnight. 2 speaker boxes are to be placed inside the building, and all performances are ordered to take place inside the building as well. Well, I guess civil society, actually that's one win for civil society. It is one win for civil society. One can champion this. It's excellent. And I think this is great that this is taking place, because the issue is, I don't think people are against promoters having events. I don't think people are against promoters actually having fests. However, it's excessive at times. And the mere fact that permission is given to have all these events in these residential areas, it's a huge issue for town and country planning alone. They've screwed up TNT completely. Town and country planning has messed up Trinidad, and we know it's corruption, because I can't understand how you can have a mixture of both residential and commercial entities so close to each other. But nevertheless, it's happened, it's there, it's going to actually be hard to reverse now, because permission has been already given to these properties to operate. But that is what's happening here in TNT, and many people are facing it. Again, you know, on AM Prime, I've raised this issue a number of times. It has affected me personally. However, the reports that I receive on a weekly basis, the messages, the calls that I receive on a weekly basis to highlight this issue is incredible. Now, from this, we can also see that there is a need for zoning when it comes to these fetes or public events. There is a need for zoning, and that doesn't happen. Now, bear in mind, during Carnival, the whole city lights up. Woodbrook residents actually have to express at times their frustrations, because you see the NCC signs all over, you know, noise-sensitive area, keep music down. Those make no sense. Those make absolutely no sense. You're already given permission to have the events in the areas. Of course it's not going to make sense. So, nevertheless, the other issue I'm going to raise from this, though, is, again, I could champion this. Human rights for all in Trinidad and Tobago. Is it human rights for all? Because according to the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, as well as the Environmental Management Authority, they are now going to come down on noise pollution and public annoyance, public nuisance, disturbance of the peace. They're coming down harder. Now, if you're not aware, any establishment, in order to have such loud music, needs permission. They actually need permission, regardless. However, the TTPS and TNT seem to be falling behind on that, because even though the TTPS and the EMA met and they came out with this beautifully worded press release, guess what? Nothing has changed. And that is why I'm asking whether or not there's human rights for all. Because what about those who cannot actually afford to go to a lawyer and get an injunction? There are many poor people who are suffering or facing a lot of instances of these nuisances and annoyances, but they simply cannot get the help from the TTPS. Believe you me, I can speak from experience and tell you, I've called the TTPS to try and stop not residents, it's actually a commercial entity operating in a residential area, from blasting music. Neighbors have called the TTPS. Guess what? They always say they're going to send a patrol. That never happens. Or when it is they can't send a patrol and you call them again, oh, well, we're short-staffed. We're short-staffed, we have no patrols available. And so residents get affected. So one residents association saw it fit to get an injunction. It was granted, but what happens to those who cannot afford it? Listen, guys, I really hope that we can just be each other's neighbors. I hope we can help each other and live with each other in peace. Commercial entities, residential neighborhoods, all of that, I really hope that we can do that. Everybody wants to have fun. Everybody wants to live their life. But you must not inconvenience others in order for you to enjoy yourself. It really should not be that case at all. There needs to be some level of balance or understanding and some level of humanity. Similar thing with Christmas time. According to many people, all they're seeing is Christmas has just become a time for drinking. That's it, drinking. It's not even a matter of just enjoying a parang anymore, you know. It's just a matter of drinking and getting to a great state of intoxication. I think we've really lost the true sense, the true meaning, the true celebration of Christmas. Yeah, nobody's saying not to enjoy yourself and have a few drinks, and nothing is wrong with that. But you see, when it becomes to that state where it's no longer just Christmas, it's just all about the alcohol, we're really, really forgetting what Christmas was like in Trinidad. Everything is changing, and though that is inevitable, we're losing humanity along the way. So ladies and gentlemen, though this may be a victory for civil society, I hope that there is human rights and justice for all. Anyway, we have that interview now between Dr. Irfan Ali and Al Jazeera. The disputed Essequibo region is an area rich in natural resources. Venezuela's President Nicolas Maduro is pushing for a bill to create a new province. Guyana's President Irfan Ali told Al Jazeera that he called on the United Nations Security Council to help mediate, as the Venezuelan president says he plans to start granting concessions for oil, gas, and minerals in Guyana's territory following his referendum on December 3rd. Now, I just want you to bear in mind, this interview was conducted before we got word that President Dr. Mohamed Irfan Ali of Guyana and the President of Venezuela, Nicolas Maduro, will meet this Thursday in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. This interview was conducted before that was publicized. Bear that in mind. But let's take a look at what was said in this interview.
Venezuela's President Nicolas Maduro is calling for a bill to create a new province in an area administered by Guyana after voters approved taking over the oil-rich Essequibo region in a referendum. Maduro also wants oil companies working there under Guyana's approval to withdraw. Guyana's president has called Maduro's statement a direct threat against his country. The case is pending at the International Court of Justice, which has barred Caracas from taking any action in the area. The White House is warning against conflict.
We will discuss to create firm legislation to prohibit hiring companies that operate or collaborate with the unilateral concessions given by Guyana in parts of the sea that's yet to be divided. It will be done through special laws. I suggest that in this law we give these companies 3 months to abandon those operations in the parts of the sea where the borders are yet to be set. 3 months. We are open to talking, everything in a good manner, nothing in a bad manner. Respect for international law, for the laws, for good neighbors and for coexistence.
Well, as you can see on the following map, the Essequibo region makes up about 2/3 of Guyana's territory. Venezuela claims that the Essequibo River to the region's east forms a natural border. Now, Guyana says the current border was determined by an arbitration panel in 1899 when it was under British colonial rule. Caracas says Essequibo was within its boundaries during Spanish colonial times. The dispute resurfaced after ExxonMobil discovered oil there in 2015. Guyana started auctioning off oil blocks in August this year. The region is home to 125,000 people and covers 160,000 square kilometers. That's an area bigger than the whole of Greece. Well, joining us now on Al Jazeera, live from Georgetown, the capital of Guyana, is President Irfan Ali. Mr. President, thank you very much for talking to Al Jazeera. Can I ask you first your reaction to Venezuelan voters approving a referendum claiming rights over Essequibo?
Well, first of all, as we said before, Venezuela has the right to do whatever referendum they want to do. However, as we went to the ICJ, we went to the ICJ specifically to seek orders against a referendum that seek to annex Essequibo, which is part of Guyana, and against the questions that were in that referendum. The questions in the referendum sought to give Venezuela the authority to act in annexing the Essequibo, setting up administrative mechanism, issuing ID cards, and the ICJ ruled overwhelmingly, unanimously, the ICJ ruled unanimously that Venezuela must not act on the outcome of this referendum. The rule that status quo must remain, that is, Essequibo remains within the territory of Guyana, and that Guyana continues to administer governance in Essequibo. The ICJ was very, very clear in its order. Notwithstanding this order, after the referendum on Sunday, last evening, President Maduro moved to announce a series of measures that point to the annexation of Essequibo, establishment of an administrative mechanism to govern Essequibo, and to give ultimatum to companies operating within Essequibo to remove themselves within 3 months. This is a blatant disregard for international order, the order of the ICJ, and international law, and definitely not in keeping with being a member of the United Nations family of nations.
Right. Now, as a result, can I ask you, Mr. President, as a result of these measures that you just outlined that Venezuela took, I understand that your country, Guyana, has put its defense forces on full alert. Are you prepared to go to war over this?
Well, let me put it this way. We want this region to remain a region of peace and stability. That is our foremost concern. That is our priority. We want to ensure that we do all that we can to ensure that this region remains a region of peace and stability. That is why we are advising Venezuela not to act recklessly and in an adventurous manner.
If you want this to remain a region of peace, as you say, why have you put your forces on alert?
So why should we be in a position to defend what is ours? We went to the United Nations Security Council this morning, and to alert the Security Council. We have called upon all our regional partners. CARICOM, Commonwealth, and the OAS have all issued very strong statements. We are working with our allies in a precautionary manner, to ensure that we keep our people safe and ensure the territorial integrity and sovereignty of Guyana.
Have you requested military assistance, Mr. President,
advancing?
from your allies in the region? Have you requested military assistance from your regional allies, including the U.S. or Cuba?
We have tremendous defense cooperation with the United States Department of Defense. We hosted the Trade Winds exercise up to this year. So there's an elaborate defense cooperation with the United States that is ongoing. And we have brought this SOUTCOM, we have brought the Department of Defense, we have brought Brazil, CARICOM, Commonwealth, the OAS, we have brought all of them in the loop as to what Venezuela is doing, the way they're trampling upon international law, the reckless behavior of President Maduro. But importantly, I want to correct a statement earlier. The borders between Guyana and Venezuela were settled in 1899 with the full participation of Venezuela and British Guyana. Both of them signed off on the border. Venezuela then enacted in their local laws the borders as established in 1899. The borders were then, stamps were then produced. Venezuela, when we were going to independence, then raised a controversy. The Geneva Agreement provided that if the two parties did not resolve the controversy, then the United Nations Secretary General would determine where the controversy will be resolved.
Right.
The UNSG has determined that the controversy be resolved in the ICJ. The question is, why is Venezuela afraid to face the ICJ? They have already participated in the process before the ICJ by going to argue that the court does not have jurisdiction twice. They lost that case. They participated when we went for provisional measures by no less a person than the vice president. So it's double standard.
Okay.
They have participated in it because they don't have their way. They're now saying that they're not going to respect the outcome of the court.
Why do you think President Maduro has done this now?
Why? I didn't get that question.
Why do you think President Maduro has gone ahead and done this now, this move?
Well, there are many schools of thoughts. One school of thought is that he is trying to distract from the current political situation in Venezuela. Guyana has welcomed many Venezuelan migrants to our shores. We are providing support for them. We have welcomed them with love. We'll continue to show them love because that is who we are. We are a law-abiding country, a law-abiding people. We respect the rule of law. We respect peace, and we understand that we have to coexist as neighbors.
Okay.
So there's one school of thought that he's doing this for his selfish political reasons at home. He wants to create a distraction, that he's not doing well in the polls. That is one opinion. The second opinion can be one of greed. One of greed. Simply that.
Okay. Can I ask you briefly, Mr. President, before we let you go, you've, as you said, asked the UN Security Council to consider intervening. What exactly would you like to see the Security Council do today?
Well, first of all, we want this region to remain a region of peace and stability. We would like the United Nations Security Council to issue a very strong statement to Venezuela in relation to Venezuela breaching the order of the ICJ, an order that can be enforceable. And we would like to see the full commitment of the United Nations Security Council to ensure that they do everything to have this region remains a region of peace and stability, and for them to support international law, for them to call upon Venezuela to support and respect international law and have the controversy settled where it is. That is before the ICJ.
Mr. President, thank you very much for talking to Al Jazeera. Irfan Ali, President of Guyana, talking to us on Al Jazeera. Thank you for your time.
The conversation surrounding the Guyana-Venezuela border controversy will continue after this break on AM Prime. We'll be right back.
Here is your WESN News on the Hour. I am Sira Ali. Thanks for joining us. Here are the headlines. Dr. Rowley encouraged PNM supporters in Tobago not to be disheartened by the current opposition status. THA's executive pressed to address lingering questions amid transparency concerns. National cyclist fell victim to an armed robbery in Tacarigua. And internationally, artificial intelligence has the ability to perform illegal financial trades. Now for the details. During the 25th Anniversary Awards and cocktail celebrations at the Fairways restaurant on Saturday night, Dr. Keith Rowley, the political leader of the PNM, encouraged supporters in Tobago not to be disheartened by the current status of being in the opposition. Dr. Rowley assured them that the PNM would rise again. Addressing the gathering, Dr. Rowley conveyed a message of resilience and optimism, emphasizing that setbacks in the political landscape are temporary and the PNM will overcome its current position in due course. The event served as an occasion to celebrate the party's 25th anniversary.
Our opponents must watch out whenever we are rejuvenated. Whenever the PNM is being rejuvenated, watch out. I know from personal experience that is so. I look at your 26 awardees tonight. I personally know 20 of them, and I've worked with at least 20 of them during periods of rejuvenation here in Tobago. I was here when Beatrice Julian lost Scarborough by 1 vote. I was here when the PNM lost 11-1 and we were the one. But I was here when he won all 12 seats. At the national level, I was there when the PNM lost 33 of the 36 seats in the parliament. And 5 years later, we were the government of Trinidad and Tobago.
The current leadership of the Tobago House of Assembly is facing demands to address a series of unresolved inquiries that have been pending in the order paper. Calvin Morris, the minority leader, says that questions directed to various secretaries have been repeatedly deferred, dating as far back as September of this year. Morris contends that this ongoing deferral deprives the Tobago public of crucial information on matters that directly concern them. He emphasizes that such circumstances hinder accountability and transparency within the THA. 21-year-old national cyclist Liam Trapty fell victim to an armed robbery while in Tacarigua. Trapty revealed that at approximately 1:19 a.m. on Sunday, he had been in the area to drop off his girlfriend and her cousin. While waiting in his Toyota Aqua for his girlfriend's return, Trapty reclined his seat, left the car door unlocked, an exception to his usual routine. Trapty said a few minutes after parking, 3 masked men, one armed with a gun, forcibly opened the car door. The armed assailant pointed the gun at Trapty, instructing him to stay quiet or face the threat of violence. The perpetrators took off with both Trapty's car and his racing bike frame, valued at $6,000. He is appealing to anyone with information to help him recover his bike, as he needs it for training in preparation for the Pan Am Games. In international news, artificial intelligence has the ability to perform illegal financial trades and cover it up. New research suggests that a bot used made-up insider information to make an illegal purchase of stocks without telling the firm. At a recent demonstration in the UK, questions were asked if AI had used an insider trading. It was later discovered that the bot denied using it. Insider trading refers to when confidential company information is used to make trading decisions. Firms and individuals are only allowed to use publicly available information when buying or selling stocks. This demonstration, according to the BBC, was given by members of the government's Frontier AI Task Force, which researches the potential risk of AI. Well, that's it to News on the Hour on WESN. I am Sira Ali. Thank you for watching.
Take some time for yourself or spend some time with the family at Sandy Point Village Hotel. Enjoy our various studio and suite apartments, self-contained with their own kitchenettes and Wi-Fi. We also have our famous 100-foot swimming pool and our beachfront restaurant, the Steak and Lobster Grill. And our location in Crown Point puts us near the center of activity from the nylon pool to the local nightlife. Call us and make your reservations at 639-8533, 389-2378 or email us at sandypointvillagehotel@gmail.com.
The issue, the continued rise in the price of flour and its impact on the cost of living in Trinidad and Tobago. How should we go about it? I want to ask you what has been revealed to you about the state of vulnerability in the country because of this exercise and because of what we're going through. Is the government losing the war on the vaccine front?
The discussion should revolve around the common good for the greatest number of people in Trinidad and Tobago.
How do we inculcate a sense of respect and regard for people who may not be of your own political ilk or persuasion?
The communities are now being used by political opportunists. So
when the tables are turned, it's the same way. Okay, this has been 10 questions. I'm Andy Johnson, and we'll see you next time.
Is it politics? What is it? Is it that nobody cares about sports?
The kind of support that sport used to get in the past is no longer here.
The thing is, taking a knee doesn't mean that that's the only thing you do in Andy.
Right.
Taking a knee along with other stuff.
Samantha, what are you looking forward to when you return home to Trinidad and Tobago after winning the title?
Thank you very much for speaking it into existence.
Is it no pressure on Nicholas Ball?
It makes me more motivated to work hard and to go out there and rep the white and black.
Why are we sending a team to the Winter Olympics?
There are a number of Trinidadians who are in the diaspora and have grown up in winter sport. It's an opportunity that the Trinidad and Tobago Olympic Committee will not close the door on.
I also believe in the players that we have. Once you can motivate the players, you can get the best out of them.
Join me, Dr. Nalini Kokram, on What's Up Doc, where we discuss all your burning questions concerning health.
Trinidad and Tobago is among one of the highest risk group of patients that develop this form of genetic breast cancer.
What I'd like to take home from a short interview like this, screening. You must screen.
Because it's silent.
It's silent.
Yeah.
And because it's silent, you don't know it's there.
What's Up Doc, every Tuesday and Thursday on WESN, Content Capital.
What's the best way to grab the attention of viewers? Please exercise more patience. You have to be kidding me.
Doing what we do best. I'll say at the very least it's a conspiracy of laziness against the people.
Join me, Keaton Shaw.
And me, Sean Michael Small, for Talking Point.
Weekdays from 8 a.m. to 9:30 a.m.
We go in-depth on the trending issues and engage the most controversial newsmakers
as we get them to account to the people for their actions.
You can't go to the government with nothing. You can't go to cabinet with an empty hand, with a wish.
I'm glad that we're having this a sober, mature discussion.
In the present situation, I expect a continuation of the chaos.
Join us for the discussion, Mondays to Fridays,
only on WESN,
the Content Capital.
Let the home store turn your house into a home you love. We offer household items, lawn and garden, paint center, hardware, plumbing, lighting and electrical, toys and storage solutions. And just for you this Christmas, come check us out for great gift ideas and all your Christmas decorations.
6 convenient locations: 6th Avenue Barataria, The Falls at West Mall, Pennywise Plaza Chaguanas, C3 Center Branch, Christmas Store at C3 San Fernando, and Eastgate Mall, Trin City.
Check out our Facebook page for more information and come visit us today. The Home Store. Turn your house into a home you love.
It comes naturally to us. Unstoppable energy. We use it to manifest a future. A future where energy takes new forms and is used in new ways for all of us. The new age of energy is here.
Welcome back to the program, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you very much for joining me on the program this morning. I am now joined by the Minister of Foreign and CARICOM Affairs, Senator the Honourable Dr. Amory Brown, as we speak about CARICOM's role in the Venezuela-Guyana border dispute, and he is with us virtually this morning. Hello, sir, and thank you very much for joining me on the program.
Good morning to you, and good morning to your viewers and listeners across Trinidad and Tobago and beyond. It's good to be with you today.
Thank you very much, sir. Well, a statement released by CARICOM heads of government last Friday urged Venezuela to respect the conservatory measures determined by the ICJ in its recent ruling until a final resolution. CARICOM has reiterated its support for Guyana in its pursuance of the resolution of its border controversy with Venezuela through the process of the International Court of Justice. But given this statement from the OAS, which used a strong approach, as well as Guyana's position of non-negotiations, is there a need for CARICOM to take a stronger approach, a harder approach to Venezuela's actions?
Well, CARICOM, as you would be aware, remains united on the issue of this border controversy between Venezuela and Guyana. That is very important because we have to continue speaking with one voice. CARICOM held an emergency meeting of heads of government of the community on Friday, just a few days ago, during which this matter received specific attention with the participation of Trinidad and Tobago's Prime Minister, Dr. Keith Rowley, as well as all his colleague heads of government. And a range of options were discussed at this particular meeting, and I must tell you that this was not the first time. CARICOM has been very much engaged in this matter in recent times since the escalation of pressure on this issue, and this engagement has occurred in front of the scenes as well as behind the scenes. There's been a lot of contact, a lot of discussion, a lot of diplomacy being deployed. CARICOM always seeks to ensure the maintenance of our region as a zone of peace. CARICOM's disposition is toward de-escalation, and CARICOM always focuses on dialogue and diplomacy over the things like the threat of force, etc. So, in keeping with this, it was determined that a forum should be created on Thursday for some degree of direct conversation, engagement, dialogue between the head of government of Venezuela and the head of government of Guyana. The pro tempore president of FELA, Prime Minister Ralph Gonsalves, has made it clear that this is not a mediation and this is not a negotiation, and he's not a mediator in this matter. But it is simply to create an environment in which, for the first time in recent times, these two principals can sit in the same room and have some dialogue. Now, President Ali has made it abundantly clear as well that he's not going there to negotiate the established border of this country. But we still see value in making this effort, in having this conversation toward achieving some cooling of these temperatures and a reduced sense of threat, of pressure around this border controversy, while awaiting a judgment from the ICJ and other developments that are likely to come. So I do not agree that CARICOM should be more aggressive or belligerent. Otherwise, this Thursday forum would have been far less likely to occur or to succeed. So we're taking it one step at a time, making best effort, going beyond the core to ensure that the prospects for engagement and diplomacy can be successful or as successful as possible, whilst maintaining our position, which is in support of Guyana's policy that this matter is not subject to bilateral negotiation. It is subject to a determination, a judgment at the UN's court, which is the International Court of Justice.
Now, it is rather mature and wise that a decision has been reached to have such conversations where leaders have agreed diplomacy to meet each other in person and speak to each other face to face in a manner that we can only hope is calm and respectful of each other. And that certainly is something that could be applauded. What are the expectations from such conversations to take place on Thursday, given the position of Dr. Mohamed Irfan Ali and the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, as well as Venezuela and the President of Venezuela, Nicolas Maduro's position?
Yes, I want to agree with you in that the fact that this meeting has been convened and is very likely to occur based on the responses of the prospective participants is a very good sign. It demonstrates mature leadership. It demonstrates the ability to, notwithstanding the water under the bridge and the actions that have already transpired of the leaders of our region, to sit down and speak. And as Ralph Gonzalez himself said recently, it is better to talk than not to talk. That's a simple principle of international engagement. At the same time, I think you've correctly framed the challenge that is before us. You have some very hard positions that have been laid down and that do not appear to be subject to change at this time. And that leads me to a conclusion that expectations are not very high across the region. I don't think anyone feels that on Thursday this controversy or this dispute, as the Venezuelans regard it, will be resolved. There's no likelihood of that. But at the minimum, you see, it's very hard to have a conversation, a calm, meaningful conversation, when there's a looming threat over your shoulders, far less for those calls for mediation and so on. That really is not possible in the current environment. And Ralph Gonzalez himself has said he's not a mediator in this matter. This is not a mediation. This is a conversation. So those parameters make for a very challenging event, but it really is to the credit, I would say, first of all, of CARICOM's heads, that they were able to meet for 3 hours on Friday and come up with a mature next step, a formula whereby there's some potential for improvement in the climate. And a real credit to President Ali and as well to President Maduro, that they would, notwithstanding what has transpired and some, yes, very harsh resolutions, language, communiques that have been dispatched, are still able to sit and communicate in this structured forum. So we have to make best effort at this, give this particular process an opportunity to be deployed, and then monitor, evaluate the outcome. And I can assure you, CARICOM with Dr. Rowley will once again meet, engage, and determine where best to go from there. So those are the current circumstances. It does not help in these matters when particular elements insert partisan party politics and try to make these matters a party issue. This is way, way beyond that level. There's a time and place and space for that. This is a matter of regional relations, a matter with international implications, and at the core of it lie of prospects for success of this CARICOM family, which is, transcends administrations, transcends party politics. We have committed for 50 years now to ensure that CARICOM is a key part of our developmental prospect for the future, right across this region. And therefore, the call to the UNC and those of that ilk who have been trying to make this a divisive party issue and chiming in with all sorts of non-constructive elements. But this is not the space for that. And really, let's support CARICOM's position and CARICOM's collective effort to achieve the best possible outcome.
Whilst I understand that you've mentioned is that CARICOM heads of government are most likely to meet again following the conversations that are due to take place on Thursday. Overall, CARICOM has taken a position of maintaining this zone of peace. Given the situation that we're facing, which can be a great disruption to said zone, have there already been further discussions as to what other measures CARICOM can adopt or even support measures CARICOM can implement to ensure that regardless of what takes place on Thursday, though it is a step in hopefully the right direction, that CARICOM does its best to ensure that this zone of peace is maintained?
That's an excellent question. Without going into an abundance of specifics, I can tell you that there are additional measures and fora available with respect to the immediate future of this particular controversy. Guyana has already indicated that with CARICOM support, it would be approaching the ICJ once again with a provisional application with respect to its view that Venezuela has not abided by those conservatory measures that were handed down recently. So that's one step. Secondly, there are already indications that this controversy and the recent actions around this controversy are likely to be taken to the UN Security Council. And I insert a footnote there for your attention that Guyana will soon assume a non-permanent seat at the UN Security Council. So that's a development of some significance as we go into 2024. Additionally, there are resolutions currently tabled, draft resolutions at the Organization of American States with the prospect or possibility of engagement at the UN General Assembly, which is chaired by another presided over by a CARICOM member state, Trinidad and Tobago. And there are a range of fora available to states where these matters can be treated with at a higher level. CARICOM's role, involvement, support, engagement does not end this week, and it will continue, and in my view is essential if we are to achieve that noble objective of ensuring a peaceful outcome to this matter. It is our hope that that will be the outcome. We are in support of the territorial integrity of our member state or fellow member state, the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, and we encourage all sides to take immediate steps toward the cooling of tensions around this border controversy.
There have been constructive criticisms of CARICOM's cohesiveness, though these are very unfortunate and troubling circumstances. Does this only prove CARICOM's strength? Does it only further defines the unity that is there within CARICOM?
Well, this has been a massive test of CARICOM. Some of it has been obvious, and I could tell you behind the scenes, the CARICOM has been tested in this matter. But this is not the first time in recent times that we've been tested. I recall when Prime Minister Rowley chaired the community. This was during the COVID-19 pandemic. CARICOM, I would say a new era was ushered in, where you saw CARICOM leaders engaging in a collective response to the pandemic, where you saw the sharing of vaccines, initiatives, and openings in a manner that was really unprecedented across a regional grouping. And that era brought our regional family a lot closer together. CARICOM has been tested since then. We had a 50th anniversary celebration right here in Port of Spain, again hosted by the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. And that really was a seminal moment in the development and trajectory of the regional family, where all heads gathered here, and there was deep introspection of the value of this community and the importance of maintaining the sense that we are stronger together. CARICOM is growing, as you know. Within just a couple months, we will be adding a new associate member to this regional family, and that's the territory of Martinique. That's a historic development, and the family is likely to grow again in the future because there is a strong interest and recognition across the Caribbean that there are great advantages to being part of CARICOM, and we are receiving applications for membership. Others are recognizing our value and power, and that is something that should encourage and motivate us. Thus far, CARICOM has shown its value in this particular issue, and the level of diplomacy that has been engaged and employed is of a very high standard, and we've demonstrated a great degree of maturity. And this is notwithstanding the various relationships of member states. It's not just Trinidad and Tobago. We tend to just magnify our own scenario all the time, but you have states like Dominica, Grenada, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, with very, very strong connections and ongoing relationships with various parties outside of CARICOM. But at the same time, we have been able to maintain regional solidarity across the CARICOM family. This is an achievement that should not be understated as we move forward.
Senator, the Honourable Dr. Amory Brown, thank you very much for joining me on the programme this morning to share these updates with the viewing audience. And following Thursday's conversations and further meetings between CARICOM heads of government, I welcome you to the programme to further advise us as to what is taking place. But thank you very much for your time this morning, sir.
Thank you very much. I look forward to returning very soon. Keep up the good work.
Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, the Honourable Minister of Foreign and CARICOM Affairs, Senator Dr. Amory Brown, joining me on AM Prime this morning. CARICOM has taken this position of maintaining a zone of peace. I think it is pleasing to note that both the President of the Republic of Guyana, Dr. Mohamed Irfan Ali, and the President of Venezuela, Nicolas Maduro, are meeting, and all indicators suggest that this meeting will take place on Thursday in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Dialogue is a first step, hopefully, to a long road of diplomacy. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining me on AM Prime this morning. It is always a pleasure. I'm Keaton Shaw, wishing you a good day ahead, a peaceful day ahead. And as I've always mentioned, Trinidad and Tobago is sweet, but we can make it sweeter only if we try just a little bit harder. Keep safe, keep well, and we'll see you again tomorrow morning for AM Prime. Bye-bye.
WESN.
I am Sule A. Joseph, and we are WESN, Content Capital.
It's Christmas time, and with your family you'll spend every evening watching a movie on WESN. The classics that fill your heart with merriment and cheer as we celebrate together the most wonderful time of the year.
This is my island in December.
This Christmas, WESN celebrates with you as the Content Capital brings the big screen classics. Gather your family and tune in to WESN from December 1st to 31st at 8 p.m. nightly for We Christmas Movie Classics.
Santa's coming to town! Santa!
Oh my God!
Santa here? I know him! I know him!
Only on WESN, Content Capital.
The issue, the continued rise in the price of flour and its impact on the cost of living in Trinidad and Tobago. How should we go about it? I want to ask you what has been revealed to you about the state of vulnerability in the country because of this exercise and because of what we're going through. Is the government losing the war on the vaccine front?
The discussion should revolve around the common good for the greatest number of people in Trinidad and Tobago.
How do we inculcate a sense of respect and regard for people who may not be of your own political ilk or persuasion?
The communities are now being used by political opportunists. So
when the tables are turned, it's the same way. Okay, this has been 10 Questions. I'm Andy Johnson, and we'll see you next time.
Join me, Dr. Nalini Kokram, on What's Up Doc, where we discuss all your burning questions concerning health.
Trinidad and Tobago is among one of the highest risk group of patients that develop this form of genetic breast cancer.
What I'd like to take home from a short interview like this, screening. You must screen.
Because it's silent.
It's silent.
Yeah.
And because it's silent, you don't know it's there.
What's Up Doc, every Tuesday and Thursday on WESN, Content Capital.
Take some time for yourself or spend some time with the family at Sandy Point Village Hotel. Enjoy our various studio and suite apartments, self-contained with their own kitchenettes and Wi-Fi. We also have our famous 100-foot swimming pool and our beachfront restaurant, the Steak and Lobster Grill. And our location in Crown Point puts us near the center of activity from the nylon pool to the local nightlife. Call us and make your reservations at 639-8533, 389-2378 or email us at sandypointvillagehotel@gmail.com.
What's the best way to grab the attention of viewers?
Please exercise more patience. You have to be kidding me.
Doing what we do best. I'll say at the very least it's a conspiracy of laziness against the people.
Join me, Keaton Shaw.
And me, Sean Michael Small, for Talking Point.
Weekdays from 8 a.m. to 9:30 a.m.
We go in-depth on the trending issues and engage the most controversial newsmakers
as we get them to account to the people for their actions.
You can't go to the government with nothing. You can't go to cabinet with an empty hand, with a wish.
I'm glad that we're having this a sober, mature discussion.
In the present situation, I expect a continuation of the chaos.
Join us for the discussion, Mondays to Fridays,
only on WESN,
the Content Capital.
The newest book is here, Closer to the Church, the debut novel by author and former mayor Louis Lee Singh. Available at all the home store branches, Barataria, West Mall, Shogunas and C3 San Fernando. Paper-based bookshop 10 Nook Avenue St. Anne's, WESN 30A Gattaca Street Woodbrook, Metropolitan Bookshop Ariapita Avenue Woodbrook, and all RIK bookstores nationwide. Available online as paperback on Amazon.com and Kindle for e-readers. For more info, call 628-5835 or 389-6504. Also available from author Louis Lee Singh, I Used to Live in Heaven, Letters to My Granddaughters, and Local Government in Trinidad, Conspiracy Against the People.